And that's what happens when you buy the right product at the right price. What's up everybody, David here, and I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about retail arbitrage and how you can profit off products that you buy at a specific price point. Now that does sound pretty exciting, and you're going to want to watch the whole video because at the end I'm going to be talking about something I'm going to be doing in the near future that you're not going to want to miss, that directly relates to what we talk about here today. So let's get started. Okay, but first things first, what is retail arbitrage? Well, it's quite simple in concept when you think about it. It involves going to a store that sells a product, buying that product, and then reselling it for a profit and pocketing that profit yourselves. So in the cleanest example possible, you go out to Walmart and buy something for $5. You then list that item online for $10. Once you sell it, you get to pocket the $5 profit that you made off a product that you really didn't make at all. You just went and sourced it from an existing retail store. How do you go about doing that? So now that we know what retail arbitrage is, we have a couple questions we need to ask ourselves. And the first one is, how do you identify products to buy? And then the second question is, how do you then go ahead and sell them for a profit? And in order to do that, let's go through an example. Now, we're gonna make up a company and call it the Free-to-Be Warehouse Store. And the Free-to-Be Warehouse Store is similar to Target or Walmart or any of these other big box retail stores in the fact that it sells generally a lot of different products at a pretty cheap price. And the store is open to customers 24/7, 365. So the Free-to-Be Warehouse does in fact get a lot of customer traffic, so it is constantly ordering new products to place on its shelves for those customers. And let's go ahead and say that the Free-to-Be Warehouse, similar to those other big box retailers, is a nationwide brand. So if you go to a Free-to-Be Warehouse in Washington, D.C., and then you go to a Free-to-Be Warehouse in California, yes, there might be slight variations in terms of the brands of the items that they're selling, but if you're looking for clothes, both of them will sell clothes. So generally it's the same type of products at each location. Okay, so now with all that information in hand, let's say that a Free-to-Be branch, a popular branch, on average sells about 200 bicycle helmets a week. So every single week they're gonna get a new reorder of 200 bicycle helmets to replenish their inventory. Now, one particular week, they only sell 150 helmets. But because their average is about 200, they're going to get a reorder, a reshipment of another 200 helmets regardless of what they sold that previous week. So now they have an extra 50 helmets in their inventory and they receive another shipment of 200. So if another week goes by and they sell another, let's say 150 helmets, another 50 below their standard, their average, they now have 100 excess helmets in their inventory, in their system. So what would be the next step? Well, they can take those extra 100 and store them in their stockroom, but space is finite, it's limited for them. They're not going to be able to store those 100 helmets forever. Okay, so now let's say that you're storing those extra 100 helmets. Well, what happens when you have other items to store as well? Eventually, like I said, the space is finite, so they're going to have to figure out a way to get rid of these items, and that's when it comes down to the clearance racks. Now, just because this one particular branch of the Free-to-Be Warehouse couldn't sell through their inventory of bicycle helmets, it doesn't mean that other branches in the country are, facing a similar issue. In fact, some branches also receive the average, but might be selling out through that inventory, and that area might be underserved in terms of the need, and that's where retail arbitrage comes into place. You can buy those helmets at a discount from your local branch and then sell them online to people who might need them, who don't have access to a branch that has a high supply of those bicycle helmets. And you're probably thinking, why don't the big retail brands just go ahead and send these helmets, the excess helmets, back to the manufacturer? Well, because it involves manpower and cost and overhead and all these different factors that go into actually costing them more money than them putting it on clearance and letting customers pick them up at a bargain. Because even at the clearance level, they're still making some money on those as opposed to sending them back and having to pay the costs associated with that where they're actually losing money. Okay, so now that we have all this information out of the way, let's go back to those first two questions. How do you actually identify the products that you should buy? And how do you then resell those items for the profit? The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to visit the big box retail stores, and you're going to want to check their clearance aisles or their clearance bins for any type of product that you think you would be able to profit on. Now, when you do find an item, for example, electronics, something that deals with cell phones, books, anything like this, you're going to want to check it in a few different marketplaces. And that brings us to question number 2. Where do you actually sell these items? Well, you can sell them on eBay or you can sell them on Amazon. And what you can do is, let's say I go to a big box retail store and I find an electronic that is heavily discounted. What you're going to want to do when you find an item, you can check through a few different items. When you're at the store, just check, see what they have in the clearance bin, and you can definitely search a few different items online. What you'll do is you'll search it on Amazon, you'll also search it on eBay, and to see what it's actually going for outside of your general geographic area online across the country. And if the markup is going to be at least 50% greater than what you're purchasing the product for, then it might be something that's worth you purchasing and then reselling online. So if you come across an electronic that's $100 and it's selling on average for about $150, you're going to make money on that purchase. You're going to make a profit there because your cost is going to be $100. Then you have a $50 profit margin to kind of work with in terms of shipping costs and selling fees if you sell through Amazon or eBay, and what's left over is your profit. Now, buying one item and selling one item is not going to make you rich right away, but if you buy a few items a week and post them online, you can start making, an extra $100, $200 a week by doing that if you're purchasing the right items. And I know folks that do this full time. They'll go and spend $200 to $300 a day sourcing items for different places, discount stores, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, big box retailers, Target, Walmart, and they'll post those items online, make small profits off each, but those then snowball into hundreds of dollars a week. And there's definitely going to be an upfront cost with retail arbitrage because you're going to have to go ahead and source the inventory yourself before putting it out there for others to buy. And it also works with almost anything else if you can find it at a great price. So it doesn't have to be necessarily sourcing from clearance bins or discount stores. You can find items that people are willing to buy. If they're in limited quantities, you can buy them and then flip them, sell them for a higher price. And I actually do this myself with some collectible goods, and I'll show you guys in a different video how I've done this in the past and what I actually target when I do this. So stay tuned for that. So that's basically retail arbitrage. If you can find items and source them at a low enough cost to sell them for a profit, then you're in business. So it's just a matter of doing some research, finding the right items, posting them online, trying to keep your overhead, your shipping costs, your selling fees as low as possible, and pocketing the rest. So, have you tried retail arbitrage before? If you have, let me know in the comments down below. Like I said, this is something that I have personally tried and I've actually had a lot of success doing. So if you want to see more content about that, if you want to go on hunts with me in terms of out and about looking for items to source, let me know in the comments down below. If you'd like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications, because we cover financial literacy on this channel and document my journey to financial independence and build a blueprint for others to use. So don't want to miss any of that. And we'll see you next time.